If you're gonna do something, do it all the way and do it right. And when it comes down to doing something like carnivore, you don't wanna go halfway, you wanna do it right. Okay, here's the thing, when you're looking at the premise of carnivore and what its ultimate goal is to ultimately just eliminate things that could be inflammatory or could cause issues, there's no reason that you should short yourself. You should do it right and make sure that you're not falling into any kind of mineral insufficiencies or any kind of vitamin insufficiencies, things like that. So we're gonna focus on the micronutrients, we're gonna focus on what you should really be designing in the ideal carnivore 2-day meal plan. The reason that this is set up as a 2-day meal plan is because in my honest opinion, you cannot get enough nutrient flexibility, you cannot get the spacing that you need in just one day. Okay, we need to spread it out over 2 days to get the wide variety of nutrient spacing that you need. Okay, hey, I do want to ask you hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already, and then hit that little bell icon to turn on notifications so you never ever miss a beat. Now, I've done carnivore off and on. I've experimented with all different forms of it. I've experimented with different additions and different subtractions from it. But when it comes down to at least outlining a plan, I feel like I know what's best as far as fat to protein ratio, as far as minerals, and as far as the right ratio of the kinds of fats. So that's what this is all about, is laying out what I would see as the ideal carnivore diet plan. Okay, we're gonna do it in what is called 2-meal-a-day style. Normally, I don't like doing fasting every day, but since it's so big in the carnivore and keto community, I'm okay with having it in this case as long as they're shorter fasts, like 14, 16 hours. So we're doing 2 meals a day. You're gonna have the meal in which you break your fast, or 1 meal surrounding that period, and then 1 other meal, okay? The ratio of fat to protein is going to be 1.75 fat to 1 protein, okay? Close to 2 to 1, so higher fat than protein. And we're gonna focus on doing 10% polyunsaturated fats, 60% monounsaturated fats, and 30% saturated fats. Very important that we focus on this ratio. Now, I have put a little bit of a Mediterranean spin on this. So full disclaimer, okay? There are some little bits of olive oil and macadamia nut oil in this plan. If you do not want to use them and you are absolutely opposed to them, you can substitute that for ghee or tallow at any point. However, the reason that I'm doing this is to get the best ratio of the right kinds of fats so we don't end up with insufficiencies. I did do a video that breaks down a full grocery plan as well that can go with this. Okay, so day 1, 14 to 16 hour fast, okay? So simply put, do your 16-hour fast. Optional, breaking your fast with 3 ounces of lean protein. I only say that because devout followers of my channel know that I like to break my fast with lean protein and only lean protein, and then move into the next meal. So if you want to follow that, please do, be my guest. But the real meal 1 is going to be 100 grams, or roughly 3 to 4 ounces of beef liver. I know, it's probably not the most appealing thing, but if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Let's get the benefit of carnivore, because I will tell you, doing carnivore in a short stint is super effective at resetting the body. Whether you want to go long-term or not, I frequently tell people that if they do a short stint of it, it does reset a lot of things. The reason we have the beef liver, high amounts of vitamin A, but we can't have it daily, so we have it every other day, because we end up with what's called hypervitaminosis. We can't have too much vitamin A. It's not good. It's toxic if we have too much. You're going to cook that up in 1 tablespoon of beef tallow. The reason we're using tallow is very, very important. Okay, it is the ideal ratio of stearic, palmitic, and myristic saturated fats. And the reason we want the perfect ratio of saturated fats like that is because it has to do with LDL levels. I know of people that have done carnivore that have seen their LDL levels go up. And that's because what happens is the saturated fat content of all the food you're eating is stopping those reuptake receptors, or it's affecting those reuptake receptors in the liver. So LDL isn't getting retaken by the liver as well. So it stays floating around in the bloodstream and elevates your levels. And then it oxidizes and it contributes to all kinds of issues. So the right ratio of saturated fats is going to be what allows our liver to retake that LDL and process it better. So then we have 1 to 2 ounces of Roquefort cheese. I love cheese, but I don't eat a ton of it because I know what it can do if you have a ton of it. Okay, Roquefort cheese is interesting because it's a very, very, very dense probiotic. Okay, it's one of the most probiotic-rich cheeses. So when it comes down to stabilizing your gut biome a little bit in a world where you're maybe adjusting to not having as much veggies and things like that, or any veggies, it's going to help you out there. Then I say 1 can of whole sardines. Get them in water, or if you can get them in olive oil, that's where it would be okay with my Mediterranean spin. Carnivore community, don't hate me on this, this, I'm saying it's optional, okay? The reason that I want the olive oil in some cases is mainly because of the hydroxytyrosol, which is a very powerful antioxidant that is only going to help you in your carnivore mission, okay? But the reason we want the whole sardines is because we want the whole bone, we want the skin, we want the scales, we want that because that is very effective at giving us the vitamin D, giving us the little bits of vitamin A, giving us the full spectrum bioavailable nutrients. And we of course have the omega-3s that are very powerful there. That's again, the Medi addition that I said, the Mediterranean addition would be adding 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. If you don't want to do that, add ghee. Supplements that I would recommend you take with meal 1. See, carnivore, we get a lot more granular. I actually have you take supplements with the food. Okay, magnesium, probably about 400 milligrams, 4,000 IUs of vitamin D3, about 3,000 milligrams of krill or calamari oil as an omega-3, and then low salt, which is just like a potassium version of salt, or you could take, I don't know, maybe 100 milligrams of potassium just to help balance out. Then we move into meal number 2. You're gonna love this one. 100 grams each of sockeye and ribeye. We're going surf and turf. The reason I want sockeye salmon is because it's deep red. That red is from astaxanthin, which is going to help protect the omega-3s you're consuming from the diet, okay? So please, please, please go for the sockeye. Don't go for the wild Alaskan, or don't go for the other kinds, the coho and stuff like that. I want you to go for the sockeye. And then the ribeye, just because it tastes good and you get a nice fatty cut of meat on a diet where you can actually have a nice fatty cut of meat. Also, if you're interested, I put a link down below to ButcherBox. ButcherBox is a meat delivery company that has grass-fed, grass-finished meat, so a great place to get your ribeye, but they also have sockeye salmon too. But if you're looking to do any kind of steaks, anything like that, definitely want to check out ButcherBox. I use them all the time. They're one of my most exclusive meat sources now, and they deliver the meat right to your doorstep. Super good quality, grass-fed, grass-finished, all humanely raised. Just really awesome, awesome company that's doing big things. So if you check them out down below in the description, you can get access and give them a try and get some meat delivered to your doorstep. They're a big supporter of this channel, so thank you, ButcherBox, for making this all possible too. So you can use ButcherBox for that, or you can get it from the store, whatever you want. Okay, then we have 2 tablespoons of ghee. You're cooking the sockeye and the ribeye in 2 tablespoons of ghee. Ghee has a higher smoke point, so you can cook at a relatively high temperature with it, but it's also 4 to 6% butyrate, which means that it feeds the intestinal cells. But butyrate also converts into ketones very, very easily and helps that ketogenesis process, in which you definitely are in keto on carnivore, so it's only going to help that. Okay, then optional, I will put in the description down below a recipe for a macadamia nut oil mayonnaise that a friend of mine made that is really, really good. Yes, it has macadamia nut oil. You don't have to use it, okay? But the eggs, the mac nut oil, and a little bit of collagen that's in this recipe makes for a really good full spectrum mayo. You don't have to do it. I'll put it in the description. You can use that recipe if you want. I do think it's helpful though. Otherwise, you have a serving of collagen here. Why do you want to have collagen? You can either have collagen as collagen peptide, or you can have some bone broth. Very, very important on carnivore to have some collagen. Let me say that again. Very important. You're consuming a lot of what is called muscle meat. So you're consuming the muscle, you're consuming the meat in that sense. Very high in methionine. Okay, that's an amino acid. And we have evolved to eat nose to tail. So glycine, which is an amino acid which is normally in like the tendons and ligaments, well, that would counteract all the methionine we're taking in, because we're supposed to be taking in muscle, meat, and tendon and soft tissue, right? Well, if we're not getting the tendon, we're not getting that glycine, we have an abundance of methionine, which can lead to increased homocysteine levels, cardiovascular issues. We don't want that. So have your collagen to get your glycine in, otherwise just have some bone broth. Supplements with dinner, also take 1 to 3 grams of vitamin C, 1 to 3,000 milligrams. It's going to help the collagen utilization. So macros for day 1, we have 173 grams of fat, we have 100 grams of protein, we have less than 7 grams of carbs, and just under 2,000 calories, right where we should be. Now we move into day 2, which widens out the flexibility in the nutrient spacing. Again, a 14 to 16 hour fast. Try to work out at the end of your fast. Then we go into meal 1. A 3-egg omelet, and if you can, I would recommend adding oysters and mussels to it. Sounds weird in an omelet, but it's actually delicious. If you've ever had sockeye salmon or smoked salmon in an omelet, it tastes very similar to that. So don't be afraid of that. Oysters and mussels is not an uncommon thing, okay? In the Mediterranean, they do that all the time. I've had it, literally, okay? So that is good. But main reason is to get you the zinc, okay? Zinc easily becomes deficient in zinc if you're eating the wrong kinds of meats, but you can do without that. You could throw a little bit of sockeye salmon, smoked salmon in there if you wanted Fry it up in 2 tablespoons of ghee once again. 30 grams of feta in this case. The Roquefort just doesn't really work with an omelet. It tastes a little weird. Feta works well with an omelet, and it's sheep's feta, so you're not going to have the wrong kind of casein proteins. Just a good kind of cheese that you can be a little more liberal with. Mediterranean spin. Okay, you could go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil here. Personally, I would do that. I think it's worth breaking the carnivore code for 1 second to have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to get, again, hydroxytyrosol and to get the specific fats that are going to help with uncoupling proteins and your body utilize fats more. It weighs out in its advantage to me. Supplements with this meal. 400 milligrams magnesium, again, the same vitamin D3, a little bit of K2, and 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 by way of krill or calamine oil. Meal number 2, hear me out on this. You can do 200 grams of heart, which is not exactly the most ideal thing for people, but again, if you're really going full bore into the carnivore thing, or you're doing it as a short stint and want to do it right, a little cow heart is probably going to be good, but it's very tough, so you usually want to slow cook it in some bone broth. That way you're getting your collagen too. If you don't want to eat heart, which a lot of you might not want to, a good substitute would be 150 grams of ribeye or New York steak, but then take 600 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 with it. Okay, we're trying to get the coenzyme Q10 that's in the heart. That's the goal here. So if you can't do that, take coenzyme Q10 with it. Cook it up in 2 tablespoons of ghee once again, then 2 tablespoons of caviar, mainly, if you can, salmon caviar. The reason is, this is super cool nerdy stuff, salmon caviar has what is called lyso-DHA, which is a specific kind of omega-3 that already has a transporter attached to it so it can get directly into the brain, fueling the brain, giving your brain that very powerful neurodegenerative defensive fat that we want, okay? So definitely recommend that. Other caviars can have it, but salmon is going to be the best. Okay, 2 tablespoons again of the mac nut mayo if you want. Again, recipes in the description, or you can just add some ghee if you don't want to do the Mediterranean spin. Then, of course, we have vitamin C once again, plus collagen or bone broth. The macros for this day, 181 grams of fat, 93 grams of protein, 6 grams of carbs, a hair over 2,000 calories. Alternate these days, back and forth. Day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2. You're in business, okay? If you wanted to add some breakfast, you could just do a simple egg breakfast or something like that. So don't forget to check out ButcherBox down below in the description to get your meat if you're doing carnivore, but also just don't forget to look at this with an open mind, okay? Go into it with an open mind. It may work, it may not for you, it all depends, but at least do it for a few weeks to give it a good solid try. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I will see you tomorrow.